Hello students.
Good
Hello,
morning,
can you?
sir.
Yeah. So the first question, identify the wrong. The quiz is done. First question answered. Identify the wrong statement from the following. Two-stroke. The first one. Two-stroke engines require lesser cooling as compared to four-stroke engine. That is the wrong answer. Uh, because of more heat that is produced because of more wear out, definitely two-stroke engine require more cooling. Second option was four-stroke engine is less powerful than two-stroke engine, which is correct, because two-stroke engine, you know, every rotation you have every rotation of crank you have one power stroke, but it is not like that in four-stroke. And two-stroke diesel engines do not use carburetor, which is also correct. Four-stroke petrol engine makes use of spark plug, which is also correct. So the first one was the wrong statement. And in the second one, in two-stroke engine there is one power stroke dash of crankshaft. So already you know, you can go back to the learning material whenever it is available. Also you can go back to the recording. For every 360-degree rotation of crank, there is one power stroke in the case of two-stroke engine. So these two questions were regarding mainly regarding two-stroke engines, which was covered in the last class, and most of them have responded correctly. Only a small percentage, 10% of students have answered wrong. So we will continue with our regular class. Chadaga sir will take over. Hello, Chadaga sir. Hello. We wait for some time. Chadaga sir will start the class.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have discussed in detail about two-stroke engines in our previous class. All activities are happening in within the two strokes. So look at these diagrams, how it will happen. Look at that. In the one side, uh, the compressed charge will burn. Other side, see, look at the ports. All the exhaust port and transport port is closed, and the other side is compressed, charge is compressed and ready for firing. And in the meantime, other side, the petrol and air mixture will enter into the cylinder. Suction is happening in this side, and other side burning activity happening. Okay, once that burning is happening, sudden pistons start descending down because of working pressure, and power is actually developed. In the meantime, the exhaust port opens, the burnt out gases will move out to the atmosphere, so because of differential pressure. And also in the meantime, the transport port also uncovered, and so that fresh charge, whatever it is filled in the crankcase, will be pushed to the uh, combustion area or the cylinder, and it actually displaces the burnt out gases of the previous the burnt out gases of the uh, previous activity. It will move out, and fresh charges actually displaces the burnt out gas, residual gases left in this. That is called scavenging. Okay, and further movement will end the one of the stroke. In the during the upward stroke, forward stroke, look at that, slowly it will move up. So initially the inlet port is closed, transport port is also closed. As it move further, look at that, the exhaust port is also closed, and the fresh charge, inlet port opens and fresh charge into the crankcase, and these two ports are closed, and the charge will compress, then burning will takes place. So entire activity is happening in two stroke. Look at that. from TDC to BDC. So initially other side burning, and inside there is a charge suction is happening. Okay, so because of piston burning, if piston will move down, you will get a working pressure, and when the exhaust port opens, the burnt out gases will move out, and transport port opens, and it pushes the charge in the crankcase into the cylinder area, and also displaces the burnt out gases to move out. Initially, because of differential pressure, the burnt out gases will move out. Then the fresh charge will displace the burnt out gases at atmosphere pressure into the exhaust port, like that. And further movement closes the initial one of the stroke. In the second stroke, as the piston moves up, initially the inlet port closed, then outlet transport port is also closed, and the charge will be compressed. Then inlet port opens and further fresh charge enters, and charge will be compressed. So with all the four activities happening in only 2 strokes, and no special valves are there. So the first stroke, at the beginning of the first stroke, piston is at the cover end, means top end. As soon as the charge is ignited by the spark plug, the hot gases force the piston move from TDC to BDC or the crank end. The downward movement of the piston first uncovers the exhaust port, causing burnt out gases escape to the atmosphere. Next, further downward movement, piston uncovers the inlet port, covers the inlet port, and stopping the entry of fresh and air petrol mixture into the crankcase, and compressing the already drawn fresh charge in the crankcase. As soon as the top edge of the piston uncovers the transfer port, during its further downward movement, the compressed charge from the crankcase flows into the cylinder. The compressed charge entering to the engine cylinder pushes the exhaust gases out to the cylinder. So this is called scavenging. This process of removal of exhaust gases by the fresh incoming charge is known as scavenging. Look at this important thing. The fresh charge will displace the burnt out gases. That is called scavenging. That's all happening in the during downward stroke. The scavenging continues till the piston covers the transfer and exhaust port during the next upward stroke. So during this stroke, crank rotates half revolution. In the second stroke or upward stroke, the piston moves from BDC to TDC. In this stroke, the piston moves from BDC to TDC. First covers the transfer port, thereby stopping the entry of fresh charge into the cylinder from the crankcase. Then further upward movement, piston uncovers the inlet port, thereby creating vacuum in the crankcase, and fresh charge start entering into the crankcase, other side. Okay, further upward movement, piston covers the exhaust port, thereby stop scavenging and compression of the petrol air mixture in the cylinder taking place. Compressed charge is ignited in the combustion chamber by the spark plug, and cycle of the events are repeated. Crankshaft rotates by half revolution. So this is what happening. So concluding remarks in the 2-stroke petrol engine is, this engine requires only 2 strokes to complete 1 working cycle or all the 4 activities. The crankshaft makes 1 revolution to complete 1 cycle, half revolution per stroke. The power is developed in every revolution in the crankshaft. Look at that, every revolution you will get power. The energy developed in the first stroke is stored in the flywheel. Energy required to perform the second stroke is provided by the flywheel itself. The smaller flywheel is required as the power developed in every revolution of the crank. So it has to supply power for only half revolution. At the start of the engine, energy required to perform the stroke is provided by cranking. That's as usual in the 4-stroke engine. To initiate the working cycle, the cranking is required. Now 4-stroke diesel engine, exactly similar like the previous case. Only difference is, look at that, spark plug is replaced by fuel injector, and only air enters instead of charge. Only air enters. So during downward stroke, look at that, what will happen? air enters into the charge, crankcase full, and other side fuel injector is injected so that burning will take place. And the product of combustion results in it exerts the pressure on the piston face and piston will push down, move down. This is a downward stroke. So what will happen when it is uncovers first exhaust port, burnt out gases will move out, and when this transport port open, the charge already entered in the crankcase will enter to the cylinder area or burning area, combustion area, and during downward shake this exerts the pressure on the crankcase, charge filled in the crankcase, so that it will be pushed to the cylinder area. And not only that, it pushes all the burnt out gases to the atmosphere also. That is called scavenging. Okay, so that's what is happening in the downward stroke. And further movement, downward movement uncovers the inlet port, and so that the air entry to the charge will be completely stopped. This is what happening in the downward stroke. In a forward stroke, moving up, what will happen? Initially, as it moves up, so look at the transport port is closed, so that charge is confined in the cylinder area. The further movement will cover, look at that, exhaust port also, but inlet port open, so that fresh air enters into the crankcase for the next cycle. Meantime, the charge is trapped inside the cylinder, will be compressed to a higher values and fuel will be injected. So there, that is how this two-stroke diesel engine work. Okay. Same thing. It's already explained in the last class, and entire activity is happening in the two-stroke. And one more thing, look at that in a diagram. Look at that piston tip in a two-stroke engine. Have you observed this? They are not flat. Look at, they are just tapered everywhere. This is called crowning of piston. And these two-stroke engines where pistons are crowned. Look at that. Even petrol engine, they are crowned, but it's not crowned in the four-stroke engines. Do you know what is the reason? That pistons are crowned. A taper type. So this enables the burnt out gases to move out much easily through the exhaust port. So all two-stroke engine pistons are being crowned. What is the meaning of crowning? Look at that, slight taper is provided on the face, not the flat pistons, not the flat piston. This is the one important thing that I missed in my previous class to explain. Okay, so all these pistons are being crowned. Then we have comparison, conclusion, remarks on two-stroke petrol engine is already been we have covered. Okay. This comparison is already made in our previous class in four-stroke to two-stroke. So every alternate cranks you will get power. Here in every power stroke, in every revolution you will generate the power in two-stroke. So activities are more rapid in two-stroke engine. The vibrations are more, sound is more, and many problems are there. And cycle is completed in 2 revolutions, cycle completed in 1 revolution. Less fuel consumption, more fuel consumption. Because here lot of unburnt hydrocarbons are there. During since there is absence of walls, some of the unburnt hydrocarbons, some of the fresh charges may go out along with the burnt out gases. That's why fuel consumptions are more. Higher thermal efficiency in 4-stroke because complete combustion. Here it is lower thermal efficiency. Engine design is complicated because walls, seatings, walls, and cam operation, everything is there. This design is very complicated. Here just ports, and opening and closing of ports is done by piston itself, by covering and uncovering the ports. Lesser rate of engine wear and tear, higher rate of engine wear and tear because it is very rapid. Activities are very rapid in a 2-stroke engine, so wear and tear more. And inlet and exhaust valves, there are ports. Engine is heavy and bulky because of heavier flywheels. The same power engine is light and compact. No camshaft, no valve mechanisms, and no heavy flywheels in two-stroke engines. Whereas here everything is there. That's why it has become heavy and bulky. Lesser cooling and lubrication. It requires greater cooling and lubrication. Why? Because activities are very rapid and more movement. So lubrication more and heating requirement is also high. Here is every alternate revolution power is being developed, Every alternate revolution fuel is being burnt. So it's quite cooling. Cooling is much easier compared to this. Whereas here every revolution there is a burning activities. Cost is cheaper. Two-stroke engines, you know the reason. And see, look at that lower running and vibrations. It's higher running, noise and vibrations. And used in cars, trucks, buses, used in mopeds, motorcycles, scooters. Look at this is pertaining to our old concept. Nowadays, because of efficiency, all your scooters are also four-stroke. They are also four-stroke. This pertaining to previous. Now, these two-stroke engines are very rarely being used because of very expensive fuels and their efficiencies. Okay. Are there any questions? Are there any questions?
No, sir.
Huh? No.
Sir.
Okay, then we'll go to.
Sir,
1 minute. Yes.
can you explain the crowning of the piston again?
Crowning. Okay. Look at that crowning. Shapes. Piston shape in two-stroke engines are just tapered towards the port side. This is called crowning. Whereas in case of four-stroke, 1 minute. Four-stroke cylinders are flat. This again two-stroke. Look at that. They are flat. Have you noticed this? In a four-stroke engine, pistons are flat.
Yes.
But in a two-stroke engine, look at that, they are crowned. They are not flat. Intentionally, they are being made like this. Small taper is provided on that. So that easy flow of, look at that, burnt out gases through exhaust port. It enables, it provides some provision, some easiness through which the burnt out gases can move out. That's why they are called crowned. These pistons are crowned.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Next, we will go to IC engine relationship. The first is indicated thermal efficiency. 1 minute. not able to. So that completes your internal combustion engine. We studied basic engines like two-stroke engines, four-stroke engines, petrol engines, and diesel engines. Only 4 varieties. Okay, so we will see the performance of these engines, because many times we are talking about efficiency, we are talking about fuel consumption. So these are the critical parameters in any internal combustion engine, so that the performance of ICE engines can be evaluated, internal combustion engines can be evaluated. So usually while vehicle is moving, the only way we can mm, find its efficiency or find its capacity is only by fuel consumption. Agreed? So 1 liter of petrol, how much distance it covers? But most of the efficiencies are calculated in laboratories when engine is fixed in a foundation. Okay, most of their performance is evaluated in the laboratories when engine is not being running. Okay, in fact, the engine is installed in the laboratories, and the crankshaft of the engine is actually coupled to a brake drum dynamometer, or it is something like a brake. Okay, how the things are evaluated means how much energy is required to stop this crankshaft by applying the brake. That is what we are estimating in IC engines experiments. Okay, in a laboratories we actually stop that crankshaft. How much energy is required to stop that energy? That is what being estimated. Okay, so some of the important relationship. Okay, I will explain how the experiments are carried out in the laboratory in the later. The important parameters relations are: first is indicated power. What is this indicated power? It is the power developed inside the IC engine cylinder. Indicated power, it is the power actually developed inside the internal combustion engine, how much it is actually being developed. Okay, so that can be find out. Look at indicated power is equal to I into PM into LAN by 60,000. What is this I? I is number of cylinders. Most of the single cylinder engine I is 1. Okay, twin cylinder engine I is 2. For a multi-cylinder engine, say for example Maruti engine, it is of I is 4. Sometimes it may be in a trucks, it is 6 or 8 engines. I is number of cylinders. Okay, I is number of cylinder. Next, PM. What is PM? It is called mean effective pressure. Mean effective pressure. What is mean effective pressure? You know, in a Otto cycle or a diesel cycle, the pressure inside the cylinder varies from atmospheric pressure to high pressure to this low, like that. In within a one particular working cycle, pressure inside the cylinder will be varying from atmospheric pressure to the maximum. So PM is actually the mean effective pressure, average pressure inside the cylinder in one working cycle. Okay, average pressure, not the peak pressure, not the atmospheric pressure where air or charge is drawn in. It is an average pressure inside the cylinder in one working cycle. So there is one unit called pi meter, one instrument called pi meter. If you attach the pi meter to the engine cylinder, that will give the average pressure or the indicated mean effective pressure of the cylinder. There is one instrument is there, that is called pi meter, that will give an average pressure, not the peak pressure, not the lowest pressure. It is an average pressure, that is called mean effective pressure, that is in Newton per meter square. Is it clear? This can be measured using one called pi meter. Next, L. L is the stroke length in meters. L is the stroke length in the meters. And next, capital A is the area of cross section of the cylinder. Pi d square by 4. If the bore diameter is d, it is pi d square by 4. That is the area of cross section. What is N? N is actually not RPM. Okay. For a 4-stroke engine, it is a half of the RPM. For 2-stroke engine, small n is equal to big N, because we will get power in every alternate revolution. So whatever the crank speed divided by 2 is a small n in a 4-stroke engine. Whereas in case of 2-stroke engine, small n is equal to the actual crankshaft speed. Whereas in 4-stroke engine, it is half of the crankshaft speed. Then what is 60,000? It is in kilowatts. Indicated power is in kilowatt. So 60. So because this n what you are substituted in revolutions per minute, to convert into second, we are doing dividing by 60. Another 1000 we will get in watts to get into a kilowatt, that is 60, 1000. So 60 into 1000 is 60,000. Is it clear? So indicated power is the actual power developed inside the cylinder because of burning of fuels. That is given as I into PM into LAN by 60,000. I is number of cylinder, PM is an average pressure inside cylinder, which can be measured using a pi meter. L is the fixed one for an engineer stroke length. A is the area of cross section of the cylinder, it is pi d square by 4. N is the number of power strokes. So for every, if it's 100 RPM means for 4-stroke you will get 50 times. So divided by 60,000 means 60, because when you are substituting in revolutions per minute, so therefore to convert into second it is 60. Another 1000 is for to convert into kilowatt. So indicated power is in kilowatt. So where I is number of cylinders, N is number of working cycles per minute. It is N is equal to N by 2 for 4-stroke engine. N is equal to N for 2-stroke engine, where N is the revolutions of engines, crank rotation in RPM. These units are in revolutions per minute. Okay. L is the stroke length in meters. D is the bore diameter in the meter. So A is pi d square by 4. Okay. Then PM is the indicated mean effective pressure in Newton per meter square. Area of cylinder is pi by 4 into d square in meter square. So this is the indicated power, and this is the actual power developed in the engine. But in crankshaft, you will not get this much power. Why? Lot of power is wasted in friction. The piston and cylinder, there is a friction. Whatever power developed will not transmit the same power into the brake crankshaft because of friction. There are some power is being wasted in between connecting rod and piston, and again crank and connecting rod. There are a lot of friction involved in the conversion of reciprocating motion into rotary motion. So there are frictional losses. So therefore, this much indicated power is not available at the crankshaft. Crankshaft available little less to drive your vehicle. That is called brake power. That is called brake power. It is the power developed by the engine at the output shaft or the crankshaft, which is less than indicated power, because some power what is developed inside cylinder is wasted in the friction to overcome the friction, because there is a friction between the piston and the cylinder, friction between the gudgeon pin and the crankshaft and the main bearings, or the crankshaft and the main bearings, and crankshaft and the connecting rod. There are so many frictional losses there. So actually the brake power, the power available at the output shaft of the crankshaft is little less to overcome the friction. This is called brake power. Why it is called brake power? This power is estimated, how much power is developed in a crankshaft is estimated by putting a brake. We are putting a brake, how to stop, how much energy is required to stop this rotating shaft. That's why it is called brake power. There is no special meaning in it. The power available at the crankshaft is the brake power. Why it is called brake power? This is estimated by putting the brake in the crankshaft. How much energy is required to stop that rotating shaft? Hello? Some noise I am listening. Just mute yourself. Okay, that is what is called brake power. This is the power available at the crankshaft to drive your vehicle. So how we'll estimate this? Look at that. Brake power is equal to 2 pi nt by 60,000. Okay, what is N? Crankshaft speed. This capital N is RPM in crankshaft speed, and torque. What is this torque? Torque is nothing but how much torque is required to stop the rotating shaft. Okay, this 60,000 same explanation, because N is in RPM, to convert into second divided by 60, and entire brake power to convert into kilowatt, another 1000 is being divided. Okay, so look at that. See, this is very interesting thing, where N is the speed of the crankshaft in RPM, and look at the torque applied in the brake drum due to load W net. I said why it is called brake. So in a laboratory it is estimated by putting brake, so that how much energy is required to stop the rotating shaft. That is what we are estimating. How much power available in the crankshaft is estimated by putting the brake. How much energy is required to stop that crankshaft. Okay, so that is my, look at that. This is the torque. N is in RPM. N is a torque is applied in the brake drum due to the load W. I will explain this again. So torque is nothing but product of W into radius, W into R. This much energy is required to stop the crankshaft. I'll tell you, there is an explanation is also there, sketch is there. W is the net load acting on the brake drum, and R is the radius of brake drum. What is this? I will brake drum, I will show here. Look at that. The instrument used to estimate the brake power is called brake drum dynamometer. Its principle is to apply the brake.
Sir, can you go to the last slide for 1 minute? Sir? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Oh, look at it. So this is the one. See, this is called drum dynamometer. Rope brake drum dynamometer. That means nothing but we are applying the. So say, look at the. Say this is the shaft, crank shaft. This is a cross section. It is a rotating shaft, and over which this brake drum is being attached. And how to brake is applied? We are putting load. There is a rope, and if you put the load on it, so it will put more and more pressure, and so that the shaft is being stopped. So what is the torque? Means this is W to this radius R. W into R, net weight to the radius R, is nothing but torque applied to stop that rotating shaft. That instrument is called brake drum dynamometer or rope brake dynamometer. It will be like this. There is a brake. There is a brake drum, and brake drum is brake is applied by putting more and more weight here. That means we are with the rope, with the help of a rope, we are stopping the rotating shaft by applying more weight. Okay, so net weight is usually, look at that, there is a spring. This is being tied against the spring balance here. The net weight applied is here, this minus this spring load. Okay, that into radius is the torque applied to stop this shaft. So that is the equation here. Look at that. Brake power is nothing but 2 pi nt by 60,000. Why 2 pi? Look at that breakdown. 2 pi is the radius. Sorry, circumference. 2 pi nt by 60,000. Torque is nothing but W into R. W net. Whatever weight you apply minus of spring pressure is W net into R is nothing but radius. So that is the torque, how much torque we are applying in a brake drum. That's how you can estimate the actual power available at the brake shaft. So this is nothing but brake shaft. This is a crankshaft. This is actually engine rotating. So how much power available is estimated by putting brake. We are actually stopping that. How much energy is required to stop this engine? That much power is available in the brake shaft. So brake. So it is called, that instrument is called dynamometer, to measure the brake power. Okay. So next is friction power. So nothing but, so why brake power is less compared to indicated power? That is because lot of it has to overcome the friction. So it is the difference between the indicated power and the brake power. IP minus BP is nothing but friction power. Again, this is in kilowatt. And now the one of the important efficiencies, mechanical efficiency. How much mechanical efficiency is the ratio of brake power to the indicated power into 100. BP by IP into 100. It's a mechanical efficiency. Okay. For a good engine, a mechanical efficiency may range from 75 to 80%. Even in the worst case, if it is less than 50 or 60, it is better to discard these machines. Okay. So mechanical efficiency definitely will get more than 80% in any engines. Only the 20% power loss is due to friction. Okay. The next important thing is, look at that, brake thermal efficiency. What is this brake thermal efficiency? It is the ratio of brake power to the heat energy supplied by the fuel. So look at that equation. Brake thermal is equal to BP into 3600 into MF into CV into 100. What is this BP? This is a brake power available. Okay, this is kg per hour. The fuel consumption, MF, mass of fuel consumption is in terms of kg per hour. To convert into second, the 60 into 60, that is why 3600 will come. And CV is the calorific value of the fuel. Calorific value of the fuel. That means, look at that. This much fuel we are burning, its calorific value is this much, and this much heat it should have been produced. How much power we have actually obtained? This is a BP. That is the brake thermal efficiency. So this is compared with the actual power, mechanical power available at the crankshaft to the how much energy we have spent by burning fuel. Brake thermal efficiency. So look at it. How much this efficiency will get? Maybe 28, 25 to 20. This is the serious concern. This is the serious concern. Of course, we are much better compared to external combustion engine, where in case of your steam engine, the efficiency is around 6 to 7%. Here, of course, we have improved to 25 to 30%, but still it is a serious concern. So look at that, another 70% of the fuel energy is being wasted in this internal combustion engine, which is a serious case, serious concern. Agreed? See, this is what the serious concern in internal combustion engine. So this unnecessary heat is wasted in our heat engines. Hardly we are able to convert 25% of fuel energy into the mechanical power. Another 75% energy is waste. Your engine is heated up. Is it required? We intentionally cooling to improve their efficiency. We are intentionally additional energy spent to cool your engine, which is unavoidable. And lot of burnt out gases will be, exhaust also very hot, unaccounted. So many, around at least 70 to 75% of heat energy, fuel energy is wasted in this internal combustion engine. Look at this. These fuels are not a renewable type of energies. They may extinguish very soon. Agreed? The resources are very limited, but consumptions are moving, going in a rapid phase, and we are wasting 75% energy. If this trend continues, our grandchildren may not have a facility to move this vehicle in this world. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So something serious you should look into this. 75% energy is wasted. We are wasting because look at this. These are the energies, or these are the resources not given by our grandfather. It is being lent to our grandchildren. You should be very cautiously, you should waste your fuel. Agreed. So a lot of pollution. We are spoiling our environment. Weather pattern is changed. Throughout the year, we are getting rain here now in Manipal. Right? The millions of vehicles on the road. Millions of liters of fuels are burnt. And 75% of this heat energy is wasted. Earth is heating. Lot of evaporations. Lot of pouring. Look at that. Serious concern. Huh? So this is the serious thing. We should look into this. At least to improve this efficiencies. Even if you are able to improve efficiency by 5%, it's a great gain for this world. Otherwise, you should go for some alternatives. Solar, electric vehicles. Now our Modi government is focusing more on this electric vehicle and solar energy. Are you aware of it? We are
Yes.
entirely depend on crude on other countries. We are very poor. Our resources are very less. Our economy is mainly depends on this fuel. We have to borrow. We have to spend our foreign exchange to buy this crude. And see, this is what the serious thing. So now lot of focus is given on electric vehicle and the solar energy. Through the solar power, we should be able to generate some of the powers. Then it is a serious benefit for our countries. Otherwise, the serious situation we have to face in future. Our coal, most of our thermal power we depend on thermal power plants. Of course, we have rich in coal reserves, but that is also being extinguished in a much rapid phase. Okay, so regarding the this brake thermal efficiency is very poor, 25 to 30%. Look at that, this denominator, MFN to CV. This is the fuel what we are burning. So many kgs of fuel is burnt. This is calorific value. This much each should have been obtained, but we are able to convert small amount of portion. Only 25% of that energy will be heat energy will be converted into power. So brake thermal efficiency is very poor. And next is indicated thermal efficiency is another concept. So that is nothing but IP by 3600 to MF by CV, where CV is look at the calorific value of the fuel in kilojoules per kg, and MF is the mass of fuel supplied in kg per hour. So indicate here around 3, 4, 5% extra. That's all. If it is get to 25 to 30, this may get 35 to 30 to 35% indicated power. So how did the 3600 comes? So look at that. This is in kg per hour. To convert into second, 60 into 60. That is the 3600. This is in kilowatt. This is the one. This is in kg per hour. This is in kilojoules per kg. That is the brake thermal efficiency and indicated thermal efficiency. So these are the three important performance parameter of an internal combustion engines: mechanical efficiency, brake thermal efficiency, and indicated thermal efficiency. Okay. So now the another few things is required for calculation is a piston speed. Piston speed, linear speed is nothing but 2 Sn by 60 meter per second, where L is the stroke length, N is the revolutions per minute, and divided by 60 is per minute to second. Okay, 2 Ln. So stroke length means L, upper stroke, downward stroke. That's why it's 2 linear speed into N, because one upper stroke, one downward stroke results in one revolution of the crank. That is in N divided by 60. So this is how the linear speed is being obtained. If you know the rotation speed of crank, 2 ln by 60 is nothing but the piston linear speed. The brake specific fuel consumption, SFC, ratio of fuel consumed per kilowatt of power produced, is also referred as specific fuel consumption. SFC is, look at that, how much fuel consumption divided by BP. the kg per hour per kilowatt, where m is the mass of the fuel consumed in kg per hour and Bp is the brake power in kilowatt. Okay. Any doubt? This is the important IC engine relationships. What are the important relationships we have studied today? One is indicated power, IP. This is the actual power developed inside the cylinder. So that is by I into PM into LAN by 60,000, and their explanations is already been given. Next is actually the brake power. The power available at the crankshaft. This is estimated by putting the brake. That's what is called brake power. It is equal to 2 pi nt by 60,000. Okay. And then the mechanical efficiency, of course, the brake drum diameter. Then friction power. Difference between IP and BP is nothing but friction power. And mechanical efficiency is BP by IP into 100 is mechanical efficiency 100. And this value may 50 to 80%. It may be 80 to 85% friction power, maybe 15 to 20% friction power loss. This is not the serious thing. But next important thing is, as I said, brake thermal efficiency. How much fuel we are burning, how much we are actually extracting the work. That is very poor, 25%. 25 to 30 brake thermal efficiency. Look at that, BP into this is the quantity of fuel burnt. This is its calorific value. This much energy we are spending, only small quantity of power we are obtained. So this is the serious concern in internal combustion engine, and the pollution is another big problem. Okay, and another indicated thermal efficiencies. So these are the important performance parameters found in internal combustion engine. So mechanical efficiency, brake thermal efficiency, and isothermal efficiency or indicated thermal efficiency. These are the brake specific fuel consumption and SFC piston speed. Okay, carburetor we already studied. So let us break for 10 minutes and then we'll solve some problems. Now it is 9 o'clock. So we will start at 9:10. Okay?
So could you show
Sir,
the previous
once can you
slide?
show previous
Pardon?
slide?
Slides, huh?
Uh,
Which
No,
slide?
sir, next one. Brake specific fuel consumption.
Okay. This
Yeah,
slide,
thank you,
no?
sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, will there be
Thank you,
any
sir.
other quiz?
Pardon? Yes?
Sir, there would be no other quiz, right, in the class?
No, no, only one quiz. Okay, we'll break for 10 minutes. Then we'll resume some of the problems we'll solve based on these equations. It is 9 o'clock, 9:10 will start. Okay. Welcome back. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Shall we start solving some of the problems today?
Yes, sir.
So that you can evaluate the performance of any internal combustion engine. Okay, important parameters are like mechanical efficiency, brake thermal efficiency, and indicated thermal efficiencies are been indicator of any engine performance. Okay, the engine, as I said, engines are tested in laboratories, and some of the things you can measure it in laboratories. How actually the engine experiment is done is initially engine is started by cranking. Okay, then slowly they were tuned to the rated speed, and by increasing the fuel consumption, then we just apply the load. How the load is being applied? Just like we have a breakdown dynamometer, we apply the load. Usually the manufacturers will give the rated capacity of an engine. Usually we will load it for 25% of the load, and we'll see the performance of the engine. That means how much fuel is being consumed, how much air is being drawn, and how much heat is liberated in the meantime. Engine, how much heat is liberated, how much heat is actually wasted in the exhaust gas. Such things are being measured. Then engine is loaded to half the load. Again, one set of readings are being taken. How much fuel is being consumed, how much air is being drawn, how much temperature is released in exhaust as well as in intercooler or engine cooling arrangement. So those things are estimated. Then again engine is loaded to 3/4, and we will not load it to full load. And every time the performance are being calculated. Okay, and as is measured, as said, you can measure the engine speed, crankshaft speed you can measure using tachometers, and mean effective pressure you can measure it using the pi meter, and some of the measurements using thermometers. Temperatures are measured using thermometers and other devices. Okay, then you can calculate the performances of these engines: mechanical efficiency, volumetric efficiencies, then thermal efficiencies, etc. can be calculated using those formulas. Okay, let us will take the first problem. Look at that numerical. Whether my screen is visible now? Problems, internal combustion engine numericals.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you read? A 6-cylinder 4-stroke internal combustion engine develops 100 kilowatt of brake power at 800 rpm. The stroke to bore ratio is 1.5. The indicated mean effective pressure is 8 bar and mechanical efficiency is 80%. Determine the cylinder diameter and the piston stroke of the engine. So look at that. What is this 6 cylinders engine means? There are number of cylinders are 6. And what is this 100 kilowatt? It is a brake power. BP is given as 100. And what is 800 rpm? N, speed of crankshaft is 800. And stroke to bore diameter, L by D ratio is 1.5. And indicated mean effective pressure, that means PM, which is measured using pi meter. The indicated mean effective pressure is 8 bar. And mechanical efficiency is given 80%. You have to determine the cylinder dimensions and stroke length. Okay, given data, look here. I, number of cylinders 6. This is a 4-cylinder engine. Engine speed, not engine speed actually, the crankshaft speed N is 800 rpm. Hence, power is developed in only in 400 divided in a 4-stroke engine. It's a 4-stroke engine. So therefore, actual small n is 400. 400 cycles per second, and L to D ratio is 1.5. Hence, L is equal to 1.5 D, and mechanical efficiency is 80%. Okay, these are the data. Can you able to extract this data? The 6 cylinders, number of cylinders 6, so I is value 6. 100 kilowatt means brake power, BP, 100 kilowatts. It's not marked, BP is 100 kilowatts. And N, capital N is 800 RPM, crankshaft speed is 800, L by ratio is 1.5, and indicated mean effective pressure is 8 bar, and mechanical efficiency is 80%. Determine the cylinder diameter of the piston stroke. Okay, these are the given data. What you can find out? See, look at it. This is brake power is 100 kilowatt. Mechanical efficiency is 80%. Can you find indicated power? IP?
25
Yeah,
kilowatt.
how much?
125.
Okay, because you know that mechanical efficiency is equal to IP BP by IP, brake power by indicated power. So indicated power is equal to BP by mechanical efficiency, 100 by 0.8 or 80 by 100. So it is, so indicated power is how much? 125 kilowatt. Is it clear? Everyone following me? So if BP is 100, IP is 125 because mechanical efficiency is 80%. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you have an equation. What equation? Indicated power is equal to PM into LAN by 60,000. You will find PM is 125 kilowatt. I is how much? 6. PM is given how much? 8 and 8 bar. 8 into 10 raised to the power 5 Newton per meter square. 8 into 10 raised to the power 5 Newton meter square. 8 bar means 8 into 10 raised to the power 5. Okay, PM. What is L? L you substitute as L only. D, A is pi d square by 4. Pi into d square. You just be 1.5 d. Everything substitute in terms of d. Bar by 4. Then you have N. N is how much? 400 cycles per second. Divided by 60,000. Now you can convert those equations only in terms of d. And find out value of d. Once if you find d, you can bore diameter, you can find out the length also. Did you follow me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know the mean effective pressure, sorry, IP is 125 kilowatt. That is equal to I 6 into PM. PM is out 8 into 10 raised to the power 5. 8 bar is given. PM into L. L is how much? L you 1.5D substitute. L is 1.5D substitute. L is equal to 1.5D. Then A, pi into D square by 4. Leave D as it is, you do it. Pi D square by 4. Into N. N is how much? 400. Only unknown is D in that equation. Find out D. $125 is equal to 6 into PM, 8 into 10 raised to the power of 5. Next L you substitute as 1.5D. Then A, pi into D square by 4. Leave it as it is. Into N, 400. Only unknown is D. You will get in terms of D cube. Find out how much D?
Sir, is
Hope
it
everyone.
6.92 D?
How much?
6.92 around.
In what unit? In meters, sir?
Yes.
6 meters is too big, not proportional. Somewhere your calculation wrong. Look at that. IP, BP and mechanical efficiency is equal to BP by IP. So if you do by 0.8, 125. Then you have equation IP is equal to this equation. So 125 is equal to 6 into 8 into 10 raised to the power of 5. L I will substitute as 1.5 D. Then pi D square by 400. Pi D square by 4 divided by 60 by 4 is here. Look at it, divided by 4. That is the area. Pi D square by 4. N is 400 by 60,000. D cube is this much. D value is this much. Check again. Look at that. So this you followed, isn't it? 125. Then look at that. I, PM, L is 1.5 D, A is pi D square by 4. 4 is here. N is 400. Why? It is 4-stroke engine. Divided by 60,000. D cube is this much. D is this. 1.49 meters or 149 mm. Is it clear? Next, if
Yes,
D
sir.
is 1.4 mm, then length is 1.5 D, 224 mm and 149 mm. So it is a 6-cylinder multi-cylinder internal combustion engine. It develops brake power of 100 kilowatt and running at a speed of 800 rpm, and mean effective pressure is around 8 bar, and it is recorded efficiency of 80%, mechanical efficiency 80%, and your bore to stroke ratio 1.5. You can easily find the size of the cylinders, diameter and stroke length or the length. So first you have to find out IP. BP by IP, 100 by something, IP is equal to 80 or 0.8. So IP is 125, you will get. And IP can be equated, IP equations. You know IP is equal to I into PM LN by 60,000. IP is 125, number of cylinders 6, PM is 8 bar, 8 into 10 raised to the power 5 newtons, and L is 1.5 D. A is area of bore, pi D square by 4, look at it here, and N is 400. Why? It is a 4-stroke engine. Always N crankshaft half the speed, because working cycle is every alternate revolution. So 400. So if you got D cube, you will get 0.00332. If then D is 1.49, it is in meters. So convert it to millimeter, 149, and look at that. And if length is around 224, millimeter. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions? We'll solve a few more problems in the next class. Now this time shows. Anything to be clarified?
No, sir.
I will just download the attendance. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask regarding today's class. What we have studied is today's IC engine relationships. One is on indicated power, the power developed actual inside the cylinder, and next is a brake power, actual power available at the crankshaft to drive your vehicle. And there is a difference between indicated power and brake power. Whatever power developed will not reach at crankshaft because of frictional losses, and the mechanical efficiency is found out that PP by IP into 100 is mechanical efficiency. So this value you will get 80% plus. Next is a thermal efficiencies, brake thermal and indicated thermal efficiency. This is actually the ratio of actual power available at the crankshafts to the how much fuel is being consumed and their calorific value. That much heat energy should have been obtained, but we'll get little less. As said, these thermal efficiencies are very less, 25%, and 75% of fuel is burnt is wasted in as a smoke and as engine is being heated and many other reasons. And look at that, in IC engines, only in one stroke you will get power. Remaining 3 strokes you have to power will be supplied. Power is being consumed, and lot of frictions and lot of unaccounted heats like exhaust, unburnt hydrocarbons. Because of these reasons, the actual thermal efficiencies are just 25%. 75% is being wasted. This is the serious concern because we are using and kind of fuel which is not so easily renewable. Okay, and we have solved one problem also. We'll solve a few more problems in the next class. So are there any questions? If no other questions, next class you be prepared for these formulas and with calculators. We will solve few more problems in the next class. Okay, I'll stop recording now. If there is no other issues, you can leave the meeting.